What's up, Goat Nation? Welcome to another episode of Little League Goats. We're so glad you're here on a sultry Sunday afternoon. I'm already sweating, and that Burt's Bees sunscreen is going to do nothing for me. We got another great episode coming at you. Really excited about our special guest, but before we get to our special guest, I'm going to kick it over to my co-host. Joining me, as always, to my right, Austin Curveball. There's not tar on my back grave.
I love being out here in the sun, getting all this vitamin D. But first, we just want to thank our sponsor, Mimi's Cafe. Yes, we're still open, and we'd love to have lunch with your grandparents. Mimi's Cafe.
Thank you, Mimi's Cafe. If you want to throw in some pies later on, that would also be very welcome. I want to introduce our guest this week. Very special. Been trying to get him on the show for years. Schedule's finally lined up, and we've got him here in my home baseball diamond, bringing in this 1975 Oxnard Foursquare champion to the Little League Goat podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill, I caught the flyer, Haydorn.
Thank you. So good to be here.
Nice. Bill, as always, we want to begin with a couple of questions to get to know you a little bit. My first question, which you have not seen previously, is this. What is the greatest movie ever made, and why is it Shrek 3?
Shrek 3, the greatest movie ever made, and why is it Shrek 3? I've never even seen Shrek 3, actually. But Shrek 1 I've seen.
Episode. It's going to be a rough episode.
Shrek 1's great.
Shrek 1, I really enjoyed Shrek 1, just because I can relate to the donkey.
Is that Bill Murray? Not Bill Murray. What's
No,
it? Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
That's Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. The Flying Donkey. Flying Donkey is the best.
The music was good.
Music was
Hey,
good.
now you're an all-star. Get your groove on or something.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Remember that?
You listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
The music was good.
I'm gonna actually add that to my Spotify this week.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
There you
lead.
go. There you go.
Really good.
I've got a question for you. If you had to pick one superhero to look like, who would you choose, and why?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I would. I like Batman.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I see that.
I'm kind of the Batman.
Like
because
Michael
he covers up his
Keaton,
face.
the Michael Keaton Batman, or like the Christian Bale Batman.
Oh,
for the beginning.
Ben Affleck.
Oh,
Ben
yeah,
Affleck.
yeah, smart.
The only reason why is because my wife really likes Ben Affleck.
That's smart.
So I want to be like Ben Affleck.
We start every episode with a goat debate. So our greatest of all time conversation is, what is the best cheeseburger in the 805?
Ooh.
The best cheeseburger in the 805. And I'm going to give
me
Bill
started with
the
this.
first shot.
Yeah,
Bill's the first shot at the best cheeseburger in the 805.
You know, I have to be fair. I think there is we have a lot of quality establishments here in the 805.
Fair.
But there is one that stands out, I think, above the rest for me. And that would have to be Boulevard Burger in Camarillo.
Never
you ever
been
been
there.
there? Have you ever
No.
tried that?
No.
Oh, my goodness. They have the greatest burger. Perfect amount of, they cook it just right with kind of a crispy outside, juicy middle. They have all the specialty toppings you could, oh my goodness. Right now, in fact, after this, I'm going over to Boulevard Burger.
Sounds amazing.
That sounds really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, really
The
good.
only issue with that is I know it's probably below what I'm going to say, because I think I know the best one.
Doubt that.
Fair.
But I had a debate on Instagram the other day with tons of people because I said that Shake Shack is the best cheeseburger in Ventura County.
Yeah, and everybody has the right to
It's
be wrong.
so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. It's just it's like a smash burger with like cheese, and they've got like this secret sauce on it. I don't know. It's a sweet bun. It's the best. It's way better than In-N-Out. I said it.
I'm going to pause for
I
a moment.
said
Did
it.
you hear
Yeah.
that? That was a mass exodus of
And
your
if
followers
you are upset with
leaving
that,
right now, on
let
your
me know
Instagram.
in the comments if you're upset with that. But
When I first moved here from Seattle, I got into a steep debate with Ryan Axtell because I said, This is where I lose most of Goat Nation.
Uh-oh.
I think Wendy's is as good as In-N-Out.
Oh!
I think Wendy's is as good as
Whoa.
In-N-Out. I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit more burger for your coin.
No
One,
way.
I'm not waiting in line 45 minutes.
No.
And two, I don't have to listen to one more person turn their cup upside down and say, "Did you know there's a Christian burger company?"
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows it's a Christian burger company. No one else needs to
I
remind
love that.
another
Burgers are
person that there's
square.
a scripture on the underside of the cup. That's another point entirely.
Burgers are
You're both
square.
wrong. It's Five Guys.
Oh.
Let me tell you why it's Five Guys. One, service is impeccable at Five Guys.
Really?
Like literally, my car engine's still warm by the time I'm back in my car with my Five Guys. Two, fries are amazing, and you can't divorce the burger from the fry. If the fries are terrible and the burger's amazing, it's still a disappointing
true.
experience.
That's true.
Five Guys fries, on point, man. 10 out of 10. Finally, it's messy, but it's not the kind of messy where you're like having to like eat the last piece of meat and the bun separately. It stays together. It's just got a lot of substance to it. Five Guys. That's where it's at. Go
All right.
check it out. Out of the collection. Tell Kevin that Brian said hi. Still hoping Five Guys sponsors us at some point. Five Guys Burgers, conveniently located, Oxnard of the collection.
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah. But Boulevard Burgers, I'm willing to check it out.
Yeah, you
Can't
gotta-
wait.
That sounds
Yeah,
good. That
if
sounds
you
a little
haven't
more
had
like low-key underground burger place.
Locals
It
only
is.
kind of
And-
deal.
and I'm kind of that way.
Yeah.
Batman. Low-key,
Yeah, I feel that.
So
I feel
it's all
that.
the-
Nice.
the vibe.
I see the vibe we're going.
Black
with.
shirt.
Yeah.
And the real sunny.
Yeah.
I like it.
Awesome.
On this episode of Little League Goats, our theme is FOMO. FOMO. What we called it initially was everybody's hanging out without me. You know that feeling, right? You open up Instagram, you open up TikTok, and a group of your friends are hanging out and you weren't invited. You talk to some of your friends about what they did on Friday night or Saturday night, and they all went to the movie or they all went over to somebody's house, and you weren't a part of the crowd. What's it like when you think about missing out? The people are getting to do things that you would love to be a part of, but you never got an invitation. First of all, let's start the conversation with this. Bill, have you ever had FOMO? And how does it make you feel when you're the one not included?
Oh, man, I have FOMO all the time. I really do. And just recently I saw a picture where all my friends got together and I wasn't invited. And man, I was bummed out. You know, it just felt like I was left out. So I felt pretty sad.
It helps a little bit because you are about my age, but
I'm
no
way
matter...
older than you, sir.
You what?
I'm way older than you.
Well, you're a lot wiser. Well, you're not a lot
Little
older, but
wisdom
you're
there.
wiser. I say that only to say no matter how old you get, FOMO's still like a
Yes.
reality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's not something you're like 18, you hit 18, graduate high school, and all of a sudden it's like, and I never feel this again.
Yeah.
Austin, have you felt it? Because you're just a super cool dude. So I feel like you're the guy always taking the pictures that everybody else wishes they were in. So have you ever felt it? And like, what is that residual feeling of like when I turned my phone off, like I was left with this dread of?
Yeah. When I think about it, the same FOMO feeling that I had in high school, I still have, because we had Instagram and things like that where we would see these photos when I was in high school, and that same thing happens now. And yeah, I think I've come to a place where like you said, I do post photos with friends and do things like that. But I constantly think about it. Just like Bill said, I've run into moments where I see a photo or I hear like something that friends did and I wasn't a part of it. I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. And that feeling sucks. I think it's hard to deal with too because you want to be a part of it. And my first gut feeling is to be angry more than sad. Because I'm like, why wasn't I invited to that? And so it still happens. It still happens all the time to me or to Lexi and us. And so I don't know. And we've been on the other side too, where we've done it not on purpose either, where we've had parties or we've had a get together and forgot to invite someone, or we thought someone else invited them, and then we know that feeling that they're getting. So we've been on both sides. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you said we've been on both sides. You said we think sometimes we post pictures or whatever. I want to talk about for a second the intersection of like social media and technology and FOMO. How, and this is really for either of you, how has technology made FOMO worse? And what is like a healthy response to it? How's it made it worse? Like how's Instagram, how's TikTok Snapchat, how's it made FOMO worse for all of us? And what's like a healthy response to kind of your phone just kind of continuing to like pierce you with cool things other people are doing that you're not at?
Yeah, well, I think you hit it on the head. It's you are now seeing live somebody else having a blast while you're sitting at home not doing anything. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is, and it's the cycle, right? And then there's times where you're having a blast taking photos and someone else is at home, and then all of a sudden they're the ones, and it goes back, and it's a crazy cycle, right? It's the FOMO cycle. I like that. And so you go back and you kind of go back and forth doing the same thing over and over again. And so sometimes you feel it, and then sometimes you're actually the one that instigates it. So I totally see that, participated in that. I like what you said about that whole idea that, sometimes we would be doing something, and we lived at, you lived at the beach too. I was living at the beach. I'd take pictures, and everybody thought, oh, Bill has a perfect life. He lives at the beach all the time. And people would have FOMO, and they would tell me, stop posting pictures of you living at the beach. And I'm like, I'm miserable right now.
Right. You're not down here with us when like Hell's Angels are coming by with their motorcycles at 3 in the morning. They're blowing fireworks all the time.
The homeless guys.
All the vacation rentals are partying all night. Like, you don't see the other side. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's two sides. Absolutely.
That's good.
I think I'd love to get your opinion too, but I think there's like the feeling or people think that they have to post what they're doing. I think that's also one of the biggest problems is when you're doing something you're enjoying, you're having fun, you feel like you have to not just take a photo, but post it and let people know what you're doing. And that's what social media really is like updating your life with what you're doing at that moment, and to make it look pretty and make it look good. So I think we're all fascinated and kind of obsessed with posting what we're doing, what we're eating, where we are, our location, making it look like it's the best time ever. And then forgetting the feeling that comes with it, like when you're on the other side, when you see your friends doing it. So I think limiting, to answer the question of how to not fix it, but what can you do to navigate that. I think it's like moving forward with not posting all the time, limiting your time being on social media, knowing that it's hurting your feelings. I heard a pastor share like a quote that was saying, why would you continue to go to things that are hurting you? Like, why would you continue to go to things that you know is going to hurt you? If you know going on Insta stories and seeing your friends and the updates of a party or the beach that you're not at with them, then maybe you shouldn't be going on Insta stories. You shouldn't be going on social media on Instagram and seeing all of these different people in your life that you're not communicating with, you're not hanging out with them in that time. So I think it's just hard. Like I understand why you would, but I just see like adding a limit on when to look at social media, knowing that it might have a chance of your feelings getting hurt.
Yeah, I love that. I have this book that I'll never write, but I want to entitle it, My Cell Phone is Trying to Kill Me. My Cell Phone is Trying to Kill Me.
I'd read it.
And thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. It'd be very short. But the point is this. The New Testament idea, I'm going to get that word out. The New Testament idea of eternity is not the elongation of time, but the stepping out of or the removal of time. Why that's important is when you're in a moment, and we've all had those moments where you're at a beach with like a loved one, or you're on a walk with somebody, and time just seems to fly by. You don't notice. You look at your watch later, your phone, you're like, oh my gosh, 2 hours has gone by. And you don't notice that time has gone on because you've enjoyed that time so much. It was so rich. You were in it. That in some ways it's that New Testament idea of eternity, that time no longer had bearing. Time didn't matter in that moment. I was just enjoying being with you. And so in some ways it's like you have a taste of eternity when you're so present in this moment that I'm not counting the time. When we are with like our loved ones and we constantly need to pick up the phone and take a picture or post, you're stepping out of being in that moment to try to record it. Most of the time to brag about it, right? Like, check it out, I'm hanging out with Bill. Oh my gosh, I'm at the beach and you're not. Right. And kind of like the silent implication is I want to post this to brag about how cool my life is, or that I got to go here, do this. But every time I do that, I step out of being fully present in that moment to take a picture and record it. And so I feel like that's where my cell phone's trying to kill me. I miss this moment that I'm supposed to experience, and I don't experience it because I'm trying to capture this perfect picture. We have a glimpse of what eternity is supposed to be like when we're just fully present with our wife, fully present with our friends, fully present with our children, fully present with our really close relationships, and we're just enjoying them. We're not trying to capture that moment to brag about it. We're just enjoying the moment.
That's good. You bring up a great point that I struggle with personally is I love to post things, but at times I want to post them for a future me.
Mm-hmm.
Almost
like true,
yes. Like an online remembrance or an online diary of saying things. But in doing that, you can find yourself, missing out on that present moment. It's like, oh, I don't want to forget this moment, so I'm going to post it. Not realizing that you step out of the moment. I love what you said there. You step out of that moment, and you're once you do that, you miss out on being fully present in that moment you're in.
Yes.
So that is a constant struggle. I think that's a constant. What do you guys do for that? Like, how do you, when do you post and why do you post?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah,
Austin, you post a lot more than I do, and you've thought about these things a lot more than I have, probably. So
I was gonna say, even not going against what you're saying, but there's even people love to just capture things for the creation part, for the creative process of I enjoy my Instagram layout to look like it's all black and white photos or something like that because of the creative side of it. So I don't think every single person or student watching this is posting to just brag, but I do think that can also come off of what they're doing, even without them noticing it. So they can just want to take pictures of them and their friends at the zoo, and that's really fun, but they're not noticing that those other friends that they have on the other side seeing that are affected by it. So it's kind of like a balance between the two. You're doing it because it's fun, or it could be creative. It could be a time if you're into photography or you're into capturing moments like that, but you're also forgetting that there is times where you're doing it and it's affecting the people who are seeing it. So I don't know what that balance looks like. I do at times I want my pictures to look good, so I'll make sure that their edit's right or things like that. But if you just if you like you were saying, in the moments when you're enjoying it and having fun, or you're with your close friends, you don't need to take that photo. I have way more photos that I cherish that are in my camera roll that are not on my Instagram feed, or they're not on my profile, because I want to capture it, but it doesn't mean I have to post it. So I think there's just
great point.
You just have to pick and choose what you want people to see. You're also putting yourself out there for everyone to see the things you're doing. So I post out of the creative side of it, and also just for the fun part. But I also forget that there's people seeing that and thinking he didn't invite me, or they didn't invite me, or things like that. So I don't know the balance. I don't know what to post and what not to post when you're just trying to have fun on your social media account.
Yeah, a couple of red flags for me. One is if I can't put my phone down and enjoy that dinner, or if Pax and I are playing in the backyard and I'm not okay leaving my phone in the house and going outside and playing for an hour, if I'm constantly where's my phone? Where's it at? Oh, I gotta take a picture of this. Okay, Pax, and I'm posing the picture, okay, now get over there, now hold your toy like this or whatever. That's a problem. I'm not trying to create this moment to take or to find or to capture a brag-worthy photo. I think that's a problem. I also think that it's just really smart if we realize that our phones, and even capturing pictures of beloved events, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I want to remember that we did this.
Yeah.
But I think you could be really smart of hey guys, can we take a picture real quick? And then I would love for all of us to put our phones down so we can just have a conversation and enjoy dinner, and we're not trying to capture pictures throughout the whole of dinner, or at I'm thinking of a graduation kind of thing. Let's take a picture real quick, and then we're gonna spend the rest of the afternoon without our phones, just celebrating these moments. So I have a picture of us at graduation, and I'll always remember that moment. But at the same time, I'm not every 5 minutes checking my phone for my feed or trying to get another picture or whatever. Constantly, again, just pulling me out of that moment. So I think part is how I feel about not having my phone readily accessible at all times. Says a lot.
And your heart behind that. It's your heart. What are you trying to accomplish by posting this? It reminds me when I was younger and in high school, I was a fairly good-looking guy. I know it's hard to believe right now, but I was a fairly good-looking guy. I remember I met this girl, and she was from out of state, so she invited me to come and be a part of her She wanted me to come to her winter formal. She actually bought me a plane ticket to come out and fly.
Wow.
And I know. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I get out there, she ignores me totally until we go to the dance. Then we're at the dance, I'm her best friend. She's acting like I'm her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Then the dance is over, we're done. She doesn't talk to me ever again.
Yeah.
So I felt like that's almost the same thing we do with social media sometimes. It's like we show people, hey, all these things, but the reality is there's this emptiness behind it. There's these things going on in our lives. It's just interesting.
I like how you made that turn there of when we talk about fear of missing out. What is the fear is that the fear may be that somebody else is living a better life than I am. And I really appreciate, Austin, what you said also, where, we've been on both sides. We've been the ones taking photos that we know other people are looking at and be like, oh, I can't believe I got to go there. I can't believe I got to do that. Oh, that looks like fun. And like you said, Bill, I'm sitting at home on my couch watching Netflix for a third hour and not out with friends, having fun or whatever. I guess the fear in many ways is somebody else is living a better life than I am.
There you go.
And so is that evidence that I'm right? Their life is better than mine. And so you both help me remember, they've been on the other side also. Their life has its own problems and its own struggles as well.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think that's a key is, we don't get everything we want, and we shouldn't have the best like if we always think our life has to be the best or that we should be a part of everything, then something deeply in us probably needs to change, because we're going to find ourselves sad most of the time, because there's this expectation of this world, this Pinterest world that's out there that will never be.
Absolutely.
And that's the fear of missing out. How many times have we done that, where we see something and try and emulate that and it doesn't work for us, and then we get frustrated? Well, the FOMO's the same exact thing. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that, Bill. FOMO ultimately may be the connection or the evidence that somebody else may be living a better life than me. But it's a false, that's a lie, right? That's a false story. It's a false narrative that everybody's got their own struggles. No one's life is really any easier than anybody else's, and we're all just trying to do the best we can. And so I'm not taking pictures of my struggles. I'm not taking pictures and posting pictures of my difficulties, only the brag-worthy things. Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Oh, that's good.
What is a faith-filled response to FOMO? Like, what is a person of faith? How do they respond when you feel FOMO creeping in?
You brought this up earlier, and I really like that. And I think it's a faith-filled response is being present in the situation I'm in, no matter where I'm at. So even if I'm on the couch watching TV, or I'm with my parents, maybe I don't want to be, or I'm with friends that I wish I was with other friends, how can we be fully present with God? Because God has us in this moment of time in a certain place to do something, and if we want to be somewhere else, we're missing those incredible people around us. We're missing on building a relationship or building something. You don't know that the person you may need to say hi to could be your future wife or husband. You don't know.
Yeah.
And because you're worried about being somewhere else in a moment. So I think a faith-filled is trusting God that he has you where he has you, and be there
that's good.
fully in that moment.
That's good. FOMO takes you away to a different moment, a moment that's not yours. Yeah.
And not intended for you.
Yeah. That's good.
You're looking over the fence at someone else's life, not your own.
I love that, Bill.
I agree. I think I'm on the same page with you. Which we've kind of brought up a little bit, but when we think that that someone is living a better life, or that they are better than us because we're seeing photos or we're missing out on something that they're doing, ultimately you start thinking they are better than you, they're a step ahead, they're more prepared. I think we forget that God created all of us individually in a unique way. And so the only person we should be comparing ourselves to is who we were yesterday. So it's not so much the other people you're seeing on your screen or on your phone. It's you should be, how can you look at your life? And honestly, I mean, even look at the things you're posting or what you're absorbing from Instagram or any social media account. I think you should look at yourself and think, how can I become a better version of who I was yesterday? So I think I think God made us unique in a very specific way, that we don't need to compare ourselves to other people, that we lose sight of who we are when we start to compare ourselves with other people. So when we try to grasp that the idea that God wants us to be better, God wants our journey to look better and have this like strong adventure together as we take the next step with God. We don't need to look at other people. We don't need to look at other people's lives and think they are doing something better or bigger than I am. Let's look at your own life and look at how God has made you in a unique way, and how can you become better today than you were yesterday.
I love that. You've said that to me before, Austin. It really stuck with me. Don't compare yourself to where somebody is today. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
So good.
And I really like that. I don't know their story. I don't know their journey. And I also don't know how authentic what I'm seeing on social media is. There's this great TikTok this last week where it was like a 21-year-old girl, and she's in the front yard of like this mansion. She was like, oh, I bought my first mansion at 21. I bought my first Ferrari at 22. And someone opens up the window inside the mansion and yells, get off my lawn! It was just very clearly like she was trying to front that it was her house, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like how much of what we see is actually authentic. Don't compare yourself to where somebody is today. Compare yourself to where you were yesterday. Are you a better version of that person today? When I think about a faith-filled response, I think of gratitude. The word gratitude.
Oh yeah.
One of the favorite people I like to read, theologians I like to read back in the 90s, used to say, God is most glorified in us when we are most satisfied in Him. God is most glorified in us when we are most satisfied in Him. I want to be able to look at social media, and I want to engage with it sparingly. I want to engage with it less and less, because my cell phone's trying to kill me. But when I do, I want to be able to look at it and be like, oh, there's that great picture of Austin and Bill hanging out, and I'm so glad that they have that friendship. And so I don't immediately go to the selfish perspective of like, man, why wasn't I invited? Be like, man, I'm just really glad they have each other. God, I'm thankful I get to be friends with Austin. I'm grateful I get to be friends with Bill. I get to walk life with them and this journey with them. And then I need to ask myself the question in moments where I feel FOMO, what need is going unmet in my life that I feel I'm lacking, that I needed to be there, that I wanted to be a part of that, and invite God into that space. God, I'm so grateful that you've given me friends. And maybe I didn't hang out with Austin and Bill tonight, but God, you've given me plenty of friends. You give me great relationships, and I'm not a lonely person, God, because you've met me in that relational need with people, with friends, and in my relationship with you. And so I guess I want, when FOMO comes into my mind, for that to be like a red flag or a siren going, hold up, what do you feel like you're missing that God's not provided?
Yeah.
Because God offers to meet me in that need. God is most glorified in me when I'm most satisfied in Him. And so there's some kind of area of my life that I'm not inviting God into when I feel FOMO.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
I love that. Well, this has been just a really healthy and good conversation for me. I especially appreciated kind of the tangent on technology. I do think the two are interrelated. Like I feel like before we had technology, FOMO existed. I don't know, like the Pony Express would come and tell me someone was hanging out or throwing a party I wasn't invited to, and I probably would still feel it. But technology has made it way more accessible. And so I do think they kind of are married and thinking about a healthy use of technology and how it makes me feel and relating those two. We talk about that, Bill, all the time with our teenagers, where we say, no one gets off 30 minutes of social media and feels better about their own life. No one gets off 30 minutes of social media and is like, I'm more content and feel more happy about my own life. Like, no, you probably feel like you need to go out and spend money. You need to go have better experiences. You need to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Or
vacation.
you don't feel as good. Yeah, go on a vacation. Or you don't feel as good about your job. Like, your cell phone's trying to kill you. Beware and be circumspect in the amount of time you spend with it. But also notice, I guess, is a takeaway for me. When you're feeling FOMO, what areas of your life does God want to meet you in? And you're not inviting Him there. Any last words from you two of something that you're like, if I had one last thing to say about FOMO, this is it.
I think when I, like just personally, when I think about how I interact with social media and how it affects me, I have to be aware of my emotional state, because if I'm already feeling a little down or a little depressed, and I get on and I see someone who, like you were saying earlier, is on vacation, and I want to be on vacation, and all of a sudden it's like hyperactivity of that emotion happens. So if I'm depressed, I'm going to be way more depressed. And so really being self-aware is very, very important to prevent FOMO, of saying, hey, maybe if I'm feeling this way, could I have enough self-control not to jump online? Like, would that be okay for me to say, okay, I'm going to spend the next 3 hours focusing on the Lord, going to take a walk, maybe being fully present in the situation I'm in. I notice those moments help me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can help other people, but I know they help me, because I think if we can look at it and be healthy when we go online, that helps. And again, sometimes it does cause it, where you see somebody and you're like, oh, and you get depressed from it. But sometimes even jumping in, if you're already depressed, makes it worse.
Absolutely.
And all that anxiety that goes with it. And I mean, nobody likes feeling like they're missing out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's good, Bill. Yeah.
I think for me, if there was one last thing for FOMO, specifically for how you're seeing it through social media, I think it can go back to who you follow and who are your followers. So I would go through your followers and unfollow those people who you either really don't care about, or they've hurt your feelings multiple times, or every time you see it, like if it's a famous person or something, and you're seeing that they live in a really big house and they're always on vacation, then you might not need to follow them.
Yeah.
If that's the thing that triggers you every time, triggers the FOMO feeling, then maybe that's the person you need to unfollow. You take a step back and say, why do I follow them in the first place? And if you can't handle it enough, that it really is hurting your feelings, you're mad, you're sad, then unfollow them. I think it's okay that you can go without following that person on social media if it's going to hurt your feelings constantly every single time you go on social media. So I would just unfollow the people.
Yeah. I love that. One thing that makes me think about is, in our social media influencer world, if you're not the customer, you're the product. And what I mean by that is, when we follow people, a lot of people, social media influencers, who are trying to give away cars or give away things, realize that you're the product they're selling. So they're selling your viewership, your eyeballs, to all of their sponsors, meaning their entire goal is to get you to a place of feeling want, to get you to a place of feeling as though you don't have enough. So I would agree with you 100%, Austin, and take that one step further and say, be aware of a lot of those social media influencers. You're the product they're selling, and their goal is to get you to feel want, to get you to feel lacking. So their entire emphasis on social media is to get you to feel like, man, I need to buy that, I need to get that, I need to have that. So that entire world, that entire ecosystem is going to leave you feeling like you're missing out. Beware when you start going through your feed and you're like, this person's paid to be on Instagram, this person's paid to be on Instagram, this person's paid to be on Instagram.
That's so...
their job is to make you feel like you're lacking.
Their job is to make you feel, you want to be like them.
This is why we tell you to tune in every week. It's another great episode. I'm so glad that you took the time. Before we go, as always, we need to check our mailbag. We want to honor all of Goat Nation out there and our huge viewership. We see you, Puerto Rico. We see you, Guam. We know you're online following, and so, all of y'all out there. So let me reach into my mailbag here. I've got a letter. Let's see. For Bill, Seth from Skidoo wants to know, Bill, what branch of government is most important?
That is...
Goat Nation wants to know.
Well, I think they're all important. They all play a role. But right now, I think the executive branch is extremely important. And as we can see what's happening around our country, won't get into that. But it's pretty crazy. And so you can see things, how important it is to have a good executive branch. I'll just put it at that.
Okay, but you think they're all important?
I do think they're all important. Absolutely. Okay. Don't you?
Bill, I'm sorry to tell you, but all branches of government don't lead to heaven. Okay,
so,
there's truth.
That is true.
What a good conversation today. I want to thank my guest, the 1974 Foursquare Oxnard champion, Bill the Steamroller Haydorn. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
As always, we ask all of our special guests to sign our game ball.
Go.
You are the
Sign that.
253rd guest on this special episode.
I can't even find room on here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Thank you.
it's almost like the ball in the sandlot, right?
Yep.
Just famous people all over it. But thanks again, man. I really appreciate you and all
Thanks
that
for
you do
having
for
me.
Encounter.
Yeah.
You're such a gift to us, so really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Good
Well,
to be
thanks
here.
for joining us. Austin, thank you for another
course.
great
Of
episode.
course.
You're an amazing co-host.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Feels
you
good to
don't
be
smell
here.
bad, so
From here.
From here.
from
That's
here.
why we're distant.
Socially distanced.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us on the Little League Goats podcast. We'll see you next time.